Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. On today's episode of me talking about stuff and things, I'm going to be going over 3 is not enough. Before I continue, there are some links in the description below. I would highly recommend the Castaway survey. It unfortunately requires a Google sign-in, and if you do not have a Google sign-in, feel free to share the link and advocate for who you want people to vote for, or just share the link in general. I would really appreciate it. I will reveal results periodically until I finally close it down, probably to my page or on the True Fans Facebook page. So please check those out. Now, we have an hour and a half long episode, which has been done before last season, but it doesn't really happen that often because the episodes are usually 1 hour or 2 hours. So I thought that was very interesting. And we start out with Malu, Omar, and John. And before that, we have the cold open of the roaring river in Belize. And we see Omar struggling in the shelter and talking about bug bites and his body being broken down. And then we cut to a map and we zoom in on Central America, more specifically Belize, even more specifically the Cayo district. And we have 3 fan challengers attempting their 21-day challenges. We have Omar, whose original challenge was in Colombia, and he fought a lot with his partner, and they made separate camps. He starts with a PSR of 6.5, and he brought a machete. And John's original challenge was in Cabo Corrientes, Mexico. His girlfriend says he's not allowed to cuddle, and his PSR starts at a 7.4. He brings a mosquito net. And at first, we only see Omar and John meeting, and they have a pod and talk about not having a fire starter. And they are worried with the environment getting a friction fire. And they begin to walk along the river so that they can get to a campsite. And Omar says he's happy that he has a male partner, and this is right before we cut to Malu's insertion. And she meets up with them a little bit later. Her previous challenge was in Colombia, and she talks about her father's declining health and wants to complete the challenge for him. She also has charisma for days, and I want to see her host her own talk show. I find her very entertaining and she's very fun. Her PSR is a 6.6. She brings duct tape, and she has the fire starter so they don't have to worry about starting a friction fire. The group heads 4 miles north to their campsite for the next 21 days. There will be lots of rain, humidity, and mosquitoes, according to the narrator, because it is the rainy season. There's also a bit of a funny moment as the group tries to find a spot to build a shelter. Malu comments that they are kind of far away from the water, but Omar says it's an easy walk as he's struggling to get through the terrain, and Malu spikes the camera, aka looks into the camera and gives a bit of a sassy expression. They find a nice tree and begin work on a shelter. Malu wants a nice jungalow, like how she wanted a jungalow on her previous challenge, so that was a nice callback, and they use duct tape to make a fire. Unfortunately, Omar isn't feeling great. Day 2, and Omar's back gives out, but he stretches and he seems to be okay for now, and everyone is suffering from bug bites. They build a rock channel in the river near their camp, or at least there's a small section of the river that's kind of ending in a pool, and so they build a little rock channel to funnel the fish in potentially, or other animal in there, and so they could possibly go back and see if there's fish in there so they can hopefully get some food that way. After they do that, a storm approaches. On the walk back, Omar is in a lot of pain and lies in the shelter, and it rains during night 2, and on day 3, the group is very tired, and Omar can't feel his left foot. And unfortunately, Malu says she has to have a talk with the other 2. And the day before insertion, Malu's dad was put on life support and a medically induced coma. She came because she didn't want to leave her partner because she thought she'd only have 1. But after learning that she had 2, she's more at peace with the decision and decides to leave the challenge so that she can be in a position where she can have a open line of communication so she can get any updates on her dad. And with these challenges, the logistics, you have people returning, and if she were to leave, then the challenge might not have been able to move forward and they could have just canceled everything, or her potential partner could have been told that, oh, they're not doing that challenge anymore. But luckily, with the 2 partners, Malu is more at peace and she doesn't feel like she's leaving someone alone, and her mother had also encouraged her to continue the challenge. And so after learning that she had 2 partners and the situation taking a toll on her mental health, she decides to leave the challenge, unfortunately. An update about her father: he unfortunately passed away in February of 2025. My thoughts and condolences to her and her family. Everyone, please send your support to her because she is going through a tough time, and watching the episode probably wasn't great for her either. And there is also no narrator narrating or final PSR for her. And day 4, Omar and John check the fish trap and they find a turtle. They get some protein. Night 4 and the bugs are biting. Day 5 and Omar is still in a lot of pain. John goes exploring while Omar rests. Is Omar getting checked by a medic? That was my question while watching the episode, because we don't see him getting checked by the medic at all. And I, in my notes, was saying how I think that medics did check him, but it was cut. And I saw on Facebook that John posted a comment saying Omar built the shelter by himself and was having a severe allergic reaction to the bugs. The medic was called and Omar decided to stick it out. While exploring, John finds cahoon nuts and the 2 eat. And it rains a lot on night 6 and the 2 decide to cuddle, and John is saying how, his girlfriend said he can't cuddle with a woman, so since Omar is not a woman, he can cuddle with him. And so yay for bros cuddling to stay warm. Day 7 and it's raining heavily still. John gives Omar a back scratch to help him relieve the pain of the itchiness of the bug bites. And someone was telling me how, he's scratching his back for a long time and he's just scratching his back. It's fine. They're 2 bros. Part of the shelter breaks and they have to rebuild part of it during a rainstorm. Day 8 and Omar goes for a swim to keep from being bitten by mosquitoes. And then a twist occurs. Dun dun dun. We have Danni brought in, who is going to attempt a 14-day fan challenge. This is a first where we have individuals attempting a 21-day challenge and then someone attempting a 14-day challenge. And even before the season started, I saw Danni posting and commenting a lot online, and she has a great attitude. She is very prepared for this challenge. She is very well versed in survival techniques. She loves the wild. She is very happy to be there, and the fans love her. The other survivalists love her. I really hope she can come back for another challenge, because I think she would do really well on a 21-day challenge. And she starts with a PSR of a 6.2, and she is given a pot and fishing gear. And she probably could have done a 21-day challenge easily. She meets Omar and John. They all get along. Danni helps with the shelter, and it rains during the night. Now on Omar and John's day 9 and Danni's day 2, Danni and John go fishing with the bug net. They get some little fish and they all get some protein. Day 11/day 4, Danni and John work on fortifying the shelter and getting good bedding. They are itching a lot at night and it rains again. Day 14 for John and Omar, and day 7 for Danni. This challenge is rough on the survivalists, mainly Omar. Danni goes fishing and she talks about how she's used to being in thunderstorms. She catches a fish, but it unfortunately flips off the line. But she gets some cahoon nuts and smashes the shells in the rain. Day 16/day 9, Danni goes fishing some more, but is unsuccessful, unfortunately. Day 17/day 10, Danni is on the lookout for food. Omar and John are resting, and Danni spots something in the shelter, but then we get a commercial break, so we have to wait until after the survival kit segment to see what Danni spotted in the shelter. And the survival kit segment is John and Omar practicing for their calendar debut. Omar is September and John is May. After the commercial break, Danni got a lizard and the 3 eat. Night 20/night 13, the group is happy, they are almost done. Day 21/day 14, it is extraction day. They hike 2 miles up a mountain, then hike 5 miles through the jungle, then they get to a road, and they are all successfully extracted. Hooray! Congrats to Omar and John for completing their 21-day challenges, and congrats to Danni for completing her 14-day challenge. And I'm so sad that Malu wasn't able to be there, but there were some unfortunate circumstances, and I wish the best for her, and my condolences to her and her family. And the remaining survivalists leave in a horse-drawn carriage, which was very interesting. John lost 16 pounds, and his PSR goes from a 7.4 to a 7.8. Danni lost 10 pounds and goes from a 6.2 to a 6.7. And Omar lost 43 pounds, and his PSR goes from 6.5 to 6.7. And it's very unfortunate that Omar was pretty much turning the entire challenge, but it's very commendable that he stuck it out and he was able to hike out and successfully complete the challenge, which is very commendable. And I think it's great that even though Omar and Julian weren't feeling great, they decided to stick it out. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, you should just leave, you should just leave. But there have been times in the past where certain survivalists have not felt well and they would just need to rest before leaving, but they're like, no, I'm not resting, I need to do stuff, but I can't, so I'm leaving. And they leave and their PSRs drop and they may not be able to get a chance to get a redemption. I know that some people might get annoyed. It's like, oh, they're just sick and sitting in the shelter, but it's like they are suffering through this challenge. So I don't mind Omar resting and knowing his limits. And, you know, Omar is more eligible to go on a 40-day than some of the individuals who could have rested but ended up tapping. But oh well. And that is the end of the episode. Next week is the season finale, episode 12, Punch by the Prairie State, where we have Fernanda and Ivar, I-V-E-R, I believe Ivar.
Future Gabe here. His name is pronounced Iver.
And the interesting thing is Fernanda was on season 1 of Naked and Afraid Latin America, and she successfully completed the 21-day challenge, some of it by herself, and she will be the second international survivalist who is on one of the international spin-offs who is coming on a regular season of Naked and Afraid. And slight spoiler slash theory, during both the commercials that I saw for next week's episode, I did not see
Iver.
So I'm a little bit worried, but we shall see what happens. Thank you all so much for listening. Please like, comment nice things, and subscribe. And I hope you have a wonderful day slash night. Thank you. Bye-bye.